Hello my dear students, welcome to the new chapter of social studies. The chapter number is 9, the name of the chapter is Our Industries. We all know that our nature has availed us so many resources, right? So many raw materials. The things that we get from the nature is called as the resources. And we know already what are raw materials, right? The basic material that we get from the nature. So, our nature has given us, the environment has given us so many things like this. But we know that all these resources cannot be used directly, right? We cannot use it as a raw itself. It has to be turned out to be a product to have it or to use it, right? So, we are going to see how these raw materials are turned into a product, where they are turned into a final product. So, let us see what are the raw materials and what are the final product of those raw materials first. So, these are the things that we get as a resource from nature, as a raw material from nature. But none of these things you can use it directly. It has to be turned into a product, right? So, if you take an example of cotton, cotton you cannot use directly. For that, it has to be turned into a cloth, into a garment, right? Then tea leaves. If you want to have tea, you cannot just eat the tea, right? It has to be turned into the tea dust, right? The next one, wheat. The final product of wheat is bread, right? Logs of wood. What is that? Furniture. Right, all these are resources and these resources can turn into a final product, right? And this final product, where it can be turned into a final product? It can be turned into a final product in a factory. Where it can be? In a factory. Okay, the process of making a product with the use of a machine in a factory is called as an industry. Okay. I'll repeat once more, the process of making a product with a machine in a factory is called as an industry. Understood now? So, in an industry, the resources turn into a final product. Okay. So, in order to set up an industry, or in order to start an industry, what all things are needed? We need raw material. First and foremost, we need raw materials. We need trained workers, right? And what else do we need? Yes, transportation, right? Then what else? Electricity, power supply. Then trained workers, machines. All these things are needed to start an industry, to set up an industry. Raw materials, machines, laborers, transportation, power supply, everything is needed to start an industry. Industry are of 3 types. So, let us see what are the 3 types of industries. One is cottage industry, small scale industry, large scale industry. In all these industries, production happens. Okay, but there are certain differences between these industries. So, let us learn each by each what are the differences in this. Let us first start cottage industry. In the cottage industry, this business starts in their own houses, in their home. Okay, they start it in their home. The business starts in their home. There will be just a few workers. They will be using simple tools and simple machineries to start up a cottage. Cottage means what? House, right? So, to start up a cottage industry, they start in their own houses. There will be few employees there, okay? And there will be simple tools and machineries, not so complicated machineries which has to be run by trained workers. No need of that. These all will be done by a simple tool and machineries, and there will be only few number of workers. And what happens here? The raw materials. This is a small industry, right? There is no investment in this. There is a small investment, only just a small investment to start up a cottage industry. So, the raw materials, they cannot export it from outside. So, raw materials are easily available ones. Only those raw materials which are easily available, they will start the industry with those raw materials. Those type of industries are called as cottage industry. For example, we can say extracting oil industries are there. Then flour mills, right? Weaving clothes, making baskets, right? You can making baskets, pottery making, weaving clothes, then plastic toys, making toys. All these are cottage industries. Okay. Now let's see what is a small scale industry. It is little more developed than the cottage industry. Here the number of workers will be more than the cottage industry and the machines will be of better quality. Okay. They will have a small machine, small tools, and the number of workers will be more than the cottage industry, and the production also increases. If there are 50 soaps are being done in the cottage industry, in small scale industry you can produce 100 soaps there. So, the production number increases in the small scale industry. The workers increase, the machines will be little more developed, the tools what they use will be little more developed, the production also it's developed. And this is not startup in their houses. It starts in the small factories. It will be built in a small factories. What will be the example of small scale industries? Like garment making, then what else? Electrical things, then what else are there? Plastic goods. All this are being done in the small scale industry. Now let's move on to the large scale industry. As the name depicts, this industry will be of a large scale. Here more number of workers will be there, and those workers will be trained workers. Okay, they will be expertise in those working field, and the machines also will be big machines. The production also of the particular thing will be more in number compared to the cottage and the small scale industry. We cannot compare to the small scale and cottage industry. The production will be much more than cottage and the small scale industry. Workers will be trained, there will be big machines. Okay, and these all are the examples of large scale industry. Large factories will be there, big factories will be there, like automobile factories. Okay. Then shipbuilding industry, steel constructions, all this come under large scale industries. I'll read again: steel plants, oil refineries, chemical plants, factories manufacturing automobiles, railway equipments, and the raw materials also will be easily available for these industries. Okay. So, these are the three main types of industries we have. First one was cottage industry, small scale industry, and large scale industries. What do you mean by industries? The process of making a particular product with machines in a factory is called as industry. What all things are needed to set up an industry? Raw materials, laborers, machines, transportation, power supply, all these things are needed to set up an industry. Then we learnt about what are the different types of industry: cottage, small scale, and large scale industry. You can refer page number 64. There is a small table given there. In that they have given you the large scale industries name and which all states you can find these large scale industry. And there is also a map given in page number 63. And there is a key given in the textbook. Can you see this key? And they have given you what all products have been done here. So, each product has a certain symbol. So, you can see the symbol and find out in each stage these industries are. So, this is all what we have in this chapter. It's a very small chapter and easy to learn once you understood what you mean by industry and what are the different types of industry, you can complete this chapter very fastly. I hope this chapter is clear for you. Refer page number 62, 63 and 64 and do exercise in page number 65. I hope this video is clear for you. Refer the textbook and learn the chapter. Thank you my dear children. We are winding up the video.